Ziggy was not just any dog. He was known throughout the neighborhood as the silliest dog anyone had ever seen. His days were filled with boundless energy and endless playfulness. With his floppy ears that seemed too big for his head and his tail that never stopped wagging, Ziggy had a knack for bringing joy wherever he went. One sunny morning, Ziggy decided it was the perfect day for an adventure. He bounded out of the house and headed straight to the park, a place full of possibilities and new friends. As he trotted along the path, he encountered his first friend of the day, Mr. Whiskers, a grumpy old cat who secretly loved Ziggy's antics. "Good morning, Mr. Whiskers," Ziggy barked, his tail wagging furiously. "What do you say we find some mischief today?" Mr. Whiskers pretended to be disinterested, but couldn't help the small smile that crept onto his face. "All right, Ziggy, just for a little while," he replied, and together they set off deeper into the park. As they passed the pond, Ziggy spotted Penny, a wise turtle basking in the sun. "Penny, come on an adventure with us," he called out. Penny, who enjoyed Ziggy's enthusiasm, slowly made her way to them. "Lead the way, Ziggy," she said in her calm, measured voice. The trio wandered through the park, discovering hidden paths and chasing butterflies. They decided to stop by the old oak tree, Ziggy's favorite spot. Waiting there was Chirpy, a tiny but energetic squirrel, who regarded himself as the park's unofficial tour guide. "Hello, Ziggy. I see you've brought friends," Chirpy chattered excitedly. "Let's explore the big hollow tree by the pond. I heard there's something magical inside." Intrigued by Chirpy's suggestion, Ziggy and his friends eagerly followed him. When they reached the hollow tree, Ziggy went in first, his curiosity piqued. Inside was a sparkling crystal and a tiny scroll with elegant writing. Ziggy gently took the scroll in his mouth and carried it outside for all to see. Penny read it aloud. "To those who find this, you possess the gift of friendship and adventure. Use it wisely." Ziggy's eyes sparkled with excitement. "We did it! We found something magical!" The friends spent the rest of the day celebrating their discovery, feeling more connected than ever. By the time the sun began to set, Ziggy and his friends knew that this adventure was just one of many they would share together. They parted ways with promises of more fun to come, their hearts full of joy and their spirits high. Ziggy trotted home, happy and tired, ready to dream about the next day's adventures. The park would always be a place of endless possibilities for Ziggy the silly dog and his friends. As the next day dawned bright and clear, Ziggy couldn't wait to see what new adventures awaited him. After his exciting day with his friends, he was eager to return to the park and discover what other magical places it might hold. His tail wagged energetically as he trotted out the door, ready for whatever the day would bring. In the bustling town of Faville, there lived a quirky dog named Ziggy. Known throughout the neighborhood for his playful antics and unending energy, Ziggy was a golden retriever who had a knack for making friends. His best friends included a crafty cat named Whiskers, a wise old owl named Ollie, and a mischievous squirrel named Nutty. One sunny afternoon, Ziggy decided to embark on an adventure with his friends. They were to explore the Whispering Woods, a nearby forest rumored to be filled with mystery. Whiskers, ever the cautious one, packed a small bag of supplies including snacks, a map, and a flashlight. Ollie, with his vast knowledge, shared legends of the woods while Nutty excitedly ran around collecting acorns. As they delved deeper into the forest, they stumbled upon an old abandoned treehouse. It was covered in ivy and seemed like it hadn't been touched in years. Ziggy, leading the charge, rushed up the creaky wooden steps to explore. Inside, they found remnants of an old pirate map. The map hinted at a hidden treasure somewhere in the Whispering Woods. Ziggy's eyes sparkled with excitement while Whiskers carefully studied the map, and Ollie tried to recall any legends of pirates in the area. Determined to find the treasure, the friends followed the map's clues, encountering various challenges along the way. They crossed rickety bridges, solved tricky riddles, and even outwitted a family of raccoons who tried to steal their map. Through teamwork and lots of laughter, They finally found a hidden cave where the treasure was supposedly buried. Inside the cave, they discovered a chest filled with gold coins, ancient artifacts, and a note from a long-lost pirate captain. The note thanked them for keeping the spirit of adventure alive. Overjoyed with their find, the friends decided to share the treasure with the town of Faville, proving that the greatest treasure of all was the friendship and memories they created together. This time, instead of rushing straight to the park, Ziggy had an idea. He would take a different route through the neighborhood. He had noticed an old abandoned house at the edge of the park, a place he'd always wondered about. Maybe today's the day to explore it, Ziggy thought, his mind buzzing with excitement. As he trotted down the unfamiliar path, Ziggy found himself face to face with his old friend Lila, a clever rabbit who always seemed to know where the best hiding spots were. "Good morning, Lila," Ziggy barked happily. "Good morning, Ziggy," Lila replied, her ears twitching. "What are you up to today?" Ziggy wagged his tail. "I'm on a new adventure. I'm going to explore the abandoned house near the park." Lila's ears perked up. "The old house. It's said to be haunted. I've always wondered what's inside, but I've never had the courage to go in." Ziggy, never one to be afraid of a little mystery, grinned. "No ghosts are gonna scare me. Want to join me?" Lila hesitated for a moment, but then, with a brave nod, agreed. "All right, Ziggy, let's see what's inside." Together, they made their way to the old house, where the ivy crept up the stone walls, and the windows were dark and dusty. As they entered, the door creaked loudly, making Lila jump, but Ziggy was undeterred. He dashed inside, his paws echoing through the empty hallways. The house was full of forgotten things. Old furniture covered in dusty sheets, faded pictures on the walls, and strange creaky sounds. Ziggy led the way, his nose twitching as he sniffed around, eager to discover something hidden. In one of the rooms, they found an old chest, its wooden lid cracked open. Inside was a pile of forgotten treasures, gold coins, shiny buttons, and a few odd trinkets. But what caught Ziggy's eye was an old map, folded neatly at the bottom of the chest. He grabbed it with his teeth and held it up to show Lila. "What's this?" Lila asked, her eyes wide with curiosity. Ziggy unrolled the map, his tail wagging with excitement. The map appeared to lead to another hidden spot in the park, one Ziggy had never seen before. "This looks like a treasure map," Ziggy said, his voice full of joy. "Let's go find the treasure." With the map in tow, Ziggy and Lila headed out of the house and back into the park. They followed the map through the winding trails, over the bridges, and past the pond. Every step felt like a new discovery, as if the park itself was a vast, unexplored world. After a while, they reached a secluded corner of the park, where the trees formed a dense canopy overhead. Ziggy and Lila looked around, trying to find the spot marked on the map. Then suddenly Ziggy's nose twitched. He bounded forward, his paws stirring the soft earth, and found an old stone buried beneath the moss. "Is this it?" Lila asked, peering over his shoulder. Ziggy nodded and started to dig around the stone. After a few moments, he uncovered a small, rusty key. He held it up triumphantly, his tail wagging faster than ever. Lila's eyes sparkled with excitement. "What does the key open, I wonder?" The two of them spent the rest of the afternoon searching for a lock to match the key, eventually finding a hidden door near the big hollow tree, the very one they had visited the day before. The key fit perfectly in the lock, and with a creak, the door opened. Inside, they discovered a hidden garden, lush and full of vibrant flowers, rare plants, and a shimmering stream. At the center of the garden was a beautiful stone fountain, its water sparkling in the sunlight. "This must be the treasure," Ziggy exclaimed. Ziggy and Lila spent hours in the garden, exploring every corner and marveling at the beauty hidden away in the park. The secret garden became their new favorite spot, a place where they could go on countless adventures and discover new wonders together. As the sun began to set, Ziggy and Lila sat by the fountain, feeling proud of their discovery. "What a day!" Ziggy said, his eyes sparkling with happiness. Lila nodded, smiling. "It's amazing what you can find when you least expect it." He bounded out of the house and headed straight to the park, a place full of possibilities and new friends. As he trotted along the path, he encountered his first friend of the day, Mr. Whiskers, a grumpy old cat who secretly loved Ziggy's antics. "Good morning, Mr. Whiskers," Ziggy barked, his tail wagging furiously. "What do you say we find some mischief today?" Mr. Whiskers pretended to be disinterested, but couldn't help the small smile that crept onto his face. "All right, Ziggy, just for a little while," he replied, and together they set off deeper into the park. As they passed the pond, Ziggy spotted Penny, a wise turtle basking in the sun. "Penny, come on an adventure with us," he called out. Penny, who enjoyed Ziggy's enthusiasm, slowly made her way to them. "Lead the way, Ziggy," she said in her calm, measured voice. The trio wandered through the park, discovering hidden paths and chasing butterflies. They decided to stop by the old oak tree, Ziggy's favorite spot. Waiting there was Chirpy, a tiny but energetic squirrel, who regarded himself as the park's unofficial tour guide. "Hello, Ziggy. I see you've brought friends," Chirpy chattered excitedly. "Let's explore the big hollow tree by the pond. I heard there's something magical inside." Intrigued by Chirpy's suggestion, Ziggy and his friends eagerly followed him. When they reached the hollow tree, Ziggy went in first, his curiosity piqued. Inside was a sparkling crystal and a tiny scroll with elegant writing. Ziggy gently took the scroll in his mouth and carried it outside for all to see. Penny read it aloud. "To those who find this, you possess the gift of friendship and adventure. Use it wisely." Ziggy's eyes sparkled with excitement. "We did it! We found something magical." The friends spent the rest of the day celebrating their discovery, feeling more connected than ever. By the time the sun began to set, Ziggy and his friends knew that this adventure was just one of many they would share together. They parted ways with promises of more fun to come, their hearts full of joy and their spirits high. Ziggy trotted home, happy and tired, ready to dream about the next day's adventures. The park would always be a place of endless possibilities for Ziggy the golden retriever dog and his friends. The next day, Ziggy was bursting with excitement. He had heard whispers from Chirpy about a hidden treasure buried somewhere in the park. It wasn't just any treasure. Chirpy claimed it was a golden acorn that could grant a wish to the one who found it. Ziggy's tail wagged at the thought of another grand adventure. He gathered his friends, Mr. Whiskers, Penny, Lila, and Max, his loyal golden retriever companion. Together, they set off on the new quest. The day was warm, and the sun shone brightly as they walked deeper into the park, their eyes scanning the ground for any signs of the treasure. As they walked, Ziggy and Max led the way, with Mr. Whiskers perched atop a nearby rock, his sharp eyes always on the lookout. Penny, with her calm demeanor, kept a watchful eye on the others, while Lila darted from one place to another, searching every nook and cranny for clues. After hours of searching and exploring, Ziggy's nose caught a familiar scent. It was earthy and sweet, like the smell of old trees and the soil. He followed the trail, his golden fur glistening in the sunlight. Suddenly, he stopped in front of a large oak tree, its trunk wide and sturdy. "I think we've found it," Ziggy barked excitedly. "This is the place. The treasure has to be here." Max sniffed the ground beside Ziggy, his keen nose picking up something faint. "It does seem like the right spot," Max agreed. "Let us die." With their paws working together, the team dug excitedly beneath the oak tree. Penny, being the wise one, suggested they dig carefully so as not to damage anything that might be buried too deeply. After a while, their efforts revealed a small wooden box with intricate carvings. Ziggy opened the box carefully, and inside, they found a golden acorn. Its surface shimmered in the sunlight, and the air seemed to buzz with magic. They couldn't believe their eyes. "I found it! I really found it!" Ziggy exclaimed, his tail wagging furiously. "Now let's make a wish together." One by one, they each placed a paw or hand on the acorn and made their wishes. Ziggy wished for more adventures with his friends, while Max wished for their friendship to remain strong forever. Mr. Whiskers, who was always a little more practical, wished for plenty of sunny days to nap in. Penny wished for wisdom to guide them on their future adventures, and Lila, ever the dreamer, wished for a world full of endless joy and fun. As they finished their wishes, the golden acorn began to glow softly. The magic of their wishes swirled around them, filling the air with warmth and happiness. The golden acorn had done its job, granting them all the most important wish of all, the gift of friendship. With their wishes made, the group headed back home, their hearts full of gratitude. Ziggy trotted happily at the front, Max by his side. They knew that no matter what treasures they found, or what challenges lay ahead, they would always have each other. And so, the adventures of Ziggy the golden retriever dog and his friends continued, filled with laughter, magic, and the unwavering bonds of friendship. The next morning, Ziggy the golden retriever dog woke up with excitement buzzing through his veins. After their magical treasure hunt, he couldn't wait for another day of fun with his friends. This time he had an idea, a big one. How about a race around the park? Ziggy suggested to Max, who was already stretching his long legs. We'll race from the old oak tree to the big pond. Max wagged his tail, happy to join in. I'm always up for a challenge, Ziggy. Ziggy and Max quickly gathered their friends. Race time! Ziggy barked, his golden fur gleaming as he bounced from one paw to the other in excitement. The group lined up at the starting point. Mr. Whiskers, who had been known to be the fastest sprinter among the cats, stretched his paws and gave a competitive glance. Penny, being a turtle, wasn't quite as fast, but she was always up for a little friendly competition. Lila the squirrel darted around, eager to be first. On your marks, get set, go! Shouted Ziggy, his tail wagging as the race began. Ziggy and Max immediately took the lead, their paws pounding the soft earth beneath them. They dashed past the flowers and trees, the wind ruffling Ziggy's fur as he ran. Max was steady beside him, keeping up with the pace, his eyes focused on the path ahead. Behind them, Mr. Whiskers scampered with surprising speed, his paws tapping lightly on the ground. Penny, despite her slow start, was making her way steadily toward the finish line. Lila zipped through the air, bouncing from branch to branch, her tiny paws moving quickly. Ziggy looked at Max with a grin. We're doing great, Max, he barked. Max gave a friendly whiff. Keep going, Ziggy. We're almost there. As they neared the big pond, the finish line in sight, Ziggy and Max pushed themselves harder, their tails wagging faster. But just as they reached the final stretch, something unexpected happened. Mr. Whiskers zoomed past them, using his quick paws to overtake them at the last second. "Huh, I won!" Mr. Whiskers meowed triumphantly, looking back at Ziggy, Max, and the others. Ziggy laughed, his golden coat shining in the sunlight. "You did, Mr. Whiskers. That was an amazing race." Max nodded with a smile. "Yes, well done. You were too fast for us this time." Penny arrived next, her pace slow but steady, while Lila came in last, playfully flipping around trees before reaching the finish line. "We may not have won, but we all had fun," Penny said wisely. The friends gathered around the pond, exhausted but full of joy. "I think we should do this again tomorrow," Ziggy said, his tail wagging at full speed. "But next time, let's see who can jump the highest into the pond." Max barked happily in agreement. Every adventure with friends is a win. As the sun began to set, they all sat by the pond, their hearts full and their spirits high. Ziggy the golden retriever dog knew that no matter what the next day held, it would be another unforgettable adventure. The next day, Ziggy the golden retriever dog and his friends were in high spirits after the race. They had enjoyed themselves so much that they were eager to try something new, something even more exciting than the race. "I've been thinking," Ziggy said as he wagged his tail. "What if we have a talent show?" The idea immediately caught on. Everyone in the park had their own special abilities, and Ziggy knew that this could be a fun way to showcase what they each loved to do best. Mr. Whiskers, being the serious cat he was, agreed to participate but insisted, "Only if I can perform my best trick, catching the red dot." He purred as he stretched, already imagining the crowd's applause. Penny the wise turtle had her own idea. "I will tell stories, of course. They'll be stories of adventure, and the lessons we've learned along the way." Lila the squirrel jumped up and down, full of energy. "I'll do flips. Watch me flip from tree to tree like a true acrobat." Max, Ziggy's loyal golden retriever companion, had something to offer too. "I'll sing," Max said, smiling. "I've been practicing my howl, and I think it sounds pretty good." Ziggy was beyond excited. "I'll do what I do best, dance." He loved to show off his moves, twirling in circles and hopping on his back legs. He was sure the crowd would love it. The talent show was set to take place at the old oak tree, which was the perfect spot for an outdoor event. The animals of the park gathered, eager to see the performances. They all sat in a circle, waiting for the show to begin. "I agree. We all have something special to share with the world." As the sun began to set, the friends gathered around the oak tree, feeling happy and content. They realized that no matter what they did, the best part was sharing it with each other. Ziggy the golden retriever dog knew that, with his friends by his side, every day would be filled with laughter, adventures, and unforgettable memories. The following morning, Ziggy the golden retriever was full of energy and ready for a new day of fun. After their talent show, Ziggy's friends felt inspired to continue exploring their unique talents. Max approached Ziggy with a wagging tail. "Ziggy," Max began, "what do you think about starting a club? A place where we can practice our talents and learn new tricks together." Ziggy's ears perked up. "That's a fantastic idea, Max. We could call it the Adventure Club. It could be a place where we try new things and go on missions." Max gave a playful bark. "Exactly. We can meet by the old oak tree every morning and plan something special for the day." Ziggy wasted no time and started spreading the word. The idea of an adventure club excited everyone in the park. Mr. Whiskers, Penny, and Lila all eagerly agreed to join. They met later that afternoon, sitting in a circle beneath the shade of the oak tree, ready to brainstorm their first mission. Ziggy stood at the center, feeling like a true leader. "All right, friends, any ideas for our first adventure?" Lila bounced up and down. "How about a scavenger hunt? We could hide little items around the park and make clues for each other to find them." Penny nodded thoughtfully. "That sounds wonderful, Lila. And perhaps each clue could involve a special skill or talent we've been practicing." Mr. Whiskers, with his usual air of confidence, added, "I'm in. I'll make sure to come up with the most challenging hiding spots." The group agreed, and they each split up to hide their treasures. Ziggy found a bright red ball. Max decided on a shiny blue ribbon. Lila hid a small acorn. Penny left a pretty leaf as her treasure, and Mr. Whiskers chose a tiny bell that jingled with the slightest movement. Ziggy's first clue led his friends to the pond, where they had to figure out how to cross it without getting wet. Penny cleverly suggested using the stepping stones, and they all hopped across, giggling as they balanced on the stones. The next clue directed them to a tall tree, where Lila's acorn was hidden in a hollow branch. Ziggy had to jump high to reach it, and with a mighty leap he snagged it. The next part of the hunt took them through a maze of bushes, where they found the shiny blue ribbon tied to a branch. Max howled with joy when they spotted it. Their final clue led them to the old oak tree, where Mr. Whiskers had placed the tiny bell. It jingled softly in the breeze, and they all gathered around it, realizing that they had successfully completed their first scavenger hunt. Ziggy's heart was full of happiness. This was the best day ever. We solved every clue together. The Adventure Club is off to an amazing start. Max nodded, his tail wagging. This was the best day ever. We solved every clue together. The Adventure Club is off to an amazing start. Max nodded, his tail wagging. "I can't wait for our next mission. I'm so glad we decided to start this club. The friends spent the rest of the day sharing stories, laughing, and planning even more exciting adventures for their club. Ziggy felt grateful for his friends and knew that no matter what challenges or mysteries they faced, they would always stick together. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden glow over the park as the group finally parted ways. As Ziggy trotted home, he felt a warm sense of belonging and joy. He couldn't wait to see what the adventure club would discover next. Ziggy knew that with his friends by his side, every day would be another wonderful adventure. Ziggy the golden retriever was brimming with excitement as the next day of Adventure Club began. He gathered his friends under the old oak tree, ready to reveal his big idea. "Today, we're going on a treasure quest," Ziggy announced, his tail wagging with such force that it almost knocked over a pile of leaves. The group of friends, Max, Mr. Whiskers, Penny, and Lila, gathered around, intrigued by what Ziggy had in store. "A treasure quest?" Max echoed, his ears perking up. "Yes," Ziggy replied. "I've hidden clues all over the park that will lead us to a secret treasure. Each clue will give us a hint about the next location." The friends were thrilled by the prospect of an adventure that involved both exploration and puzzle solving. Ziggy handed the first clue to Penny, knowing her sharp mind would be perfect for deciphering the riddle. Penny read aloud, "I'm round and yellow, I light up your day. You can find me where the flowers sway." Max's face lit up with realization. "The sun. And where do flowers sway?" "The meadow near the pond." The group took off, with Ziggy leading the charge. They sprinted to the sunny meadow, where wildflowers of every color danced in the breeze. There, tied to a tall daisy, was the next clue. Lila, ever the eager one, reached up and snatched the clue. She read it with a grin. "I'm tall and wise, with branches so wide. Under my shade, secrets often hide." "The old oak tree," Mr. Whiskers declared confidently. The friends rushed back, racing to the base of the ancient tree. Ziggy nosed around the roots, sniffing until he unearthed a small box. "Is this the treasure?" Max asked, his eyes wide with anticipation. Ziggy nodded, nudging open the lid with his snout. Inside was a collection of colorful stones, each one polished to a shiny finish. There were also small trinkets, like a tiny bell and a shimmering feather. It wasn't gold or jewels, but to the friends, it was something even better, a box full of magical memories and shared moments.